Well, it's still preparing. Give us a couple seconds. Okay, I think we're good now.
All right, thanks. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and get started. Debbie, you want to call us to order?
Sure. Mrs. Batchelor?
Here.
Mr. Kelly?
Here.
Mr. Freeman?
Here.
Thank you.
All right, Alan, you want to lead us in the pledge?
Sure. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
Of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thanks, Alan. So we'll hop into new business here. Chief Bachman.
Okay. Please, Chief Bachman requesting motion authorizing the purchase from CMT Components for a post frame building in the amount of $25,813.63 using CARES Act funding. The construction is deemed necessary to provide a site for the disinfection and processing of COVID contaminated items and for the administration of COVID-related activities.
All right, Chief, would you mind giving us a little more detail about like the bidding process, how you collected that number and what you're going to use it for and stuff like that?
I can tell you what we're going to use it for here. So in the last couple of years, Pierce Township has had 3 homicides. We had a shooting 2 months ago. When we have serious crimes like this, sometimes we end up towing their vehicles if they're involved in that. The shooting last month, we towed, there was a gentleman shot, transported to the hospital. We were able to find the vehicle, brought it back. Of course, it has bodily fluids in it. And we don't have a place to store these vehicles until our investigators can investigate and go through there and see what evidence is in there. So what we've been using is the actual maintenance building. And when we do that, we end up just putting caution tape around the car for the maintenance guys know not to touch it or get around it. But in today's world of COVID and everything else, I think it would behoove us immensely to have a building that we could use for that. A separate building, not used by maintenance or anybody else, where we don't have to worry about contamination in the vehicle, getting out or items or fluids or aerosol particles from the car being into the environment where these guys work. I think it also provides a area for us to suit up into proper PPE equipment and go through this car or other items. It doesn't necessarily have to be a car, which would be a lot safer for us to have this kind of room. The building is rather large, but it can also be used by the fire department. There is some talk, or anybody else for that matter, that they may be able eventually to administer the vaccine to employees of Pierce. And it would be nice to have a building site that is stand by itself. We wouldn't be contaminating the building here. And lastly, I shouldn't say lastly, second last, if a vehicle is contaminated, this vehicle can be brought into this building, can be washed down, cleaned thoroughly without the threat of contamination to other people and vehicles, what have you. So it has multiple uses, and a neat thing about it, if we were to happen to have some type of crisis, kind of like what's going on now, and our health department decides that they need a dispensing site, this could be used in the area. As I said, it's rather large. We could have social distancing. We could have a couple work areas. And I think it would behoove us all in this area. I don't know if there's any other building that stands by itself and wouldn't be a school or something where kids are in and out of that could be used by the county health department or anyone else for that matter.
Chief, how soon can it be constructed?
Well, we're kind of in a crunch, as you guys know. So we looked at a company. After 3 weeks, they bailed out, saying they couldn't get this done in any time in our foreseeable future. We went with another company, the CMT. They came out, looked at the site, and said, "Believe it or not, everything that you're asking for is in stock, and we will probably be able to get this done by the end of the year." Which is surprising. Now, this is a pool barn. There's some things that would be added to it eventually, but this is a standalone structure. There would be no electricity at this time because that, of course, is a much bigger endeavor. But I think the building by itself could be definitely used a lot up until that time also. So shockingly enough, as I said, the one company said there's no way they could get it done. They had to do a bunch of other things that they kind of said, we're done. This company says the items are there. If I got my people on it right away, we could get it done by the end of the year.
Is it going to be insulated, Chief?
It is going to be insulated. If you look at the proposal further down there from CMT, it does show that it has, let's see here, CMT components is the one you'll be looking for. There's roof insulation, which is single bubble roof. And now I asked about that because it sounded like that was just the stuff you get in boxes that you pop when you were a kid. But he said, no, that's the water or vapor barrier. And then there would be insulation underneath that. There's also wall insulation, which is listed there. So yes, it would be insulated.
That's good.
Also, Mr. Keating did look at the proposal I typed up to make sure this would qualify, and his legal opinion said by all means it would qualify.
Yeah, all right. You guys got anything else?
Need to approve or not approve?
Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Bachelor,
Yes.
and Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Before we move on too, I forgot to just run back over the hand raising rules real quick. If you're on a computer, it's fairly easy. You go down the participants panel and you can raise your hand that way. We'll see it's raised. We'll call on you in between whatever. And if you're on a phone, *9, I believe, and you can participate that way. Just wanted to cover that real quick. All right, Chief, you're up again.
Okay, Police Chief Bachman requesting a motion authorizing the purchase of concrete necessary for the construction of a post-frame building in the amount of, and that's blank, and it's using CARES Act funding. As I said, this is kind of, we're trying to rush and get this all together. I believe the township uses two concrete companies, Ernst and Sardinia, which is now another company. I got with John and we're trying to get some type of proposal sent over to us in writing, which we have not been able to do at this time. But when the company who is going to do the labor on this pool barn, they estimate that you would need about 50 yards of concrete for the floor, and roughly it's $140 per yard, and that comes out to about $7,000. John looked at the I don't want to say site plans, but he kind of looked at what we're trying to get together here. He agreed that would probably be about 45 yards, and that would come into about $6,300. So they're pretty close, within $700. So I would say not to exceed maybe $7,000.
Jeff, does that include some kind of pad for the outside too?
This would be the floor. It would be John Kohler, are you here? Oh boy. Okay. I'm not a builder. I know they said that they would lay some, they would,
Leading up to the pole barn?
that would be just gravel. It'd be a gravel driveway up. There would be, gravel laid down, then they do the concrete, they pour it, and then they finish it. You know, it would be kind of connected to our carport, so there wouldn't be that much of a driveway by any means. We could concrete that, I'm assuming, if so desired.
I'm guessing it's probably the pad for the building and then maybe a little apron out front of it, possibly.
That's what I was wondering, Nick.
So do we want to do a not to exceed 7,000 or do we want to go up a little bit and give ourselves some room?
Alan, I would suggest we go up a little bit in case they do want, if that doesn't include some kind of little apron out in front. Usually they do that, don't they, to go to the gravel part?
You want to
Yeah,
go up to 8? I'm sorry, go on.
No, that's a good idea. You want to go up a little bit?
That would be good, thank you.
Maybe do 7,500 or 8,000?
Let's play it
Not
safe
to
with
exceed.
How about not to exceed 8,000?
I would say 8,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do I have a motion then? Purchase that concrete not to exceed 8,000?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Mrs. Bachelor?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
And Mr. Kelly?
Yes. Chief?
Yes, I'm sorry. Next one, let me see here, hold on. Police Chief Bachman requests a motion accepting a proposal in the amount of $30,800 to construct a post-frame building by and the CMT subcontracts. And the company that they use to subcontract is called
Moore. Jeremy
Moore. Yes, Moore S Property Restoration LLC. I know we don't have that, and so I'm throwing that out there as we go. And noting once again that this would be CARE Act funding.
All right. A motion on that?
So moved.
I will second.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Bachelor?
Yes.
And Mr. Kelly?
All right. Is that everything for you, Chief Bachman?
That is all for me. Thank you very much. I will still be pertaining to this meeting. I'll still be partaking. So if you have questions, by all means, ask away.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Chief Wright?
Good afternoon. I request a motion authorizing the purchase of 3 LifePak 1000 AEDs from Stryker in the amount not to exceed $9,500, noting this expense will be made from the CARES Act funding.
So moved.
Seconded.
Mrs. Bachelor?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
And Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, and now we have discussion regarding ODOT sidewalk maintenance agreement for the new sidewalk proposed adjacent to 125 within the right-of-way to be constructed for Casey's General Store site. Loretta?
Yes. This would be an Eddie item, but he passed it on to me. He's been talking to Casey's about the site development standards that include a sidewalk adjacent to the right of way. So in order to make sure that it's clear who's responsible for what, we have our own sidewalk maintenance policy that would apply, as well as ODOT requiring us to enter an agreement with them to say that ODOT's not responsibility, does not have responsibility for maintenance of that sidewalk. So you were sent a draft. The original model was from a different township that ODOT had provided Eddie, but we need to have Tom Keating go over it, but he and Eddie talked about it, and he suggests that yes, we should enter that agreement with ODOT, but also have Casey's sign basically our existing sidewalk policy so that they understand that the responsibility for the sidewalk still is shared with them. So our sidewalk policy had been accepted by motion in 2015, and it's a document that Tom wasn't very familiar with. So in the long run, I think that we should also review that and adopt it by resolution. But at this stage, Tom recommends that you not only approve a motion to enter the agreement with ODOT regarding the sidewalk maintenance agreement, but also authorize having Casey's sign our existing agreement for sidewalk maintenance so that they understand what the terms are. So
Case, go ahead, sorry.
well, I was going to say either we could do that in two motions, or I'm wondering if we can do it in one, authorizing the agreement with ODOT and also authorizing the Casey's signing off on our sidewalk maintenance agreement.
So Loretta, to simplify, for agreement that ODOT will not maintain it, and then a separate agreement that Casey's will maintain it?
Correct. It's, if you want to do it in two motions, it's a matter of a motion recommending or authorizing an agreement with Casey's General Store, acknowledging our sidewalk regulations. And the other is an agreement authorizing a maintenance agreement with ODOT.
Or I guess I'm confused because I thought ODOT was trying to slip the responsibility for the sidewalk. So the motion should be making ODOT not responsible.
Well, they have a sidewalk agreement. They have their own standard agreement. So we need authorization to enter an agreement with ODOT that allows the sidewalk to go there, but acknowledges that ODOT's not responsible.
Okay.
So that would be one
That's
motion.
number one.
Okay. So moved on motion one.
Second on motion one.
Roll call on motion one.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Batchelor,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Okay.
Alan, would you like to articulate or verify motion two?
Let's let the esteemed administrator please run through what motion two would sound like so that I can decide via my hearing whether I would approve that.
Okay, let me go back to the script they tried to write for me. Motion to affirm the sidewalk and replacement policy originally approved August of 2015 and edit it for signature and approval by the property owner as applicable.
Okay. So, Bonnie, would you like to make motion number two, or would you like me to
I
continue?
would love to make motion number two to approve.
I will second number two.
Oh. Whew. Mrs. Batchelor,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
and Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
I hope that clarifies everything.
Let's hope.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My turn.
Yes, ma'am.
I request a motion to approve our annual membership in Clout. It's a $200 annual membership fee, and I would just like approval to do that.
That number one or number two?
Number three. Number three. That's all I need.
I move to approve number three.
Thank you.
Or number six, as it
Number
appears on the.
Whichever one I approve.
Thank you. Mr. Freeman
Yes.
and Mrs. Batchelor
Yes.
and Mr. Kelly.
Yes. All right. Do we have any other comment from the public on anything? Remember, you use your participant panel to raise your hand and *9 on a phone.
While they're thinking about it, if I could just throw one other item here. I did not put other business because I didn't anticipate bringing anything else on this agenda. But just as an update, Adele Evans and I met last night. We reviewed the streetlights on State Route 125 and documented what we saw as essential and those that may be considered for removal in the long run. But we're going to put some notes together. We had promised to get back to ODOT by the end of this month. We may need to ask you to have a special meeting in order to consider whatever recommendation comes from that, but I can't tell you right now exactly what that will be.
So let me get this right. You and Adele went to dinner. Is that correct?
We did. We paid our
And
own
then
way.
then afterwards went for a drive along 125 in Amelia to look at the lights.
Correct,
Man, you two
because
are
it was
living.
5 o'clock. It wasn't dark. We ate until 6 o'clock when it was dark.
Man, you two are wild. Just wild.
That's crazy. That's a crazy
You
night.
got crazy. You just got crazy. You went out on the town. I mean,
Yeah.
literally.
I
on the
drove and
town.
she was shotgun. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow.
Let's not have any more of those crazy nights.
Ellen, what's in your cup today?
I don't have anything.
In your
I'm
lunch?
not even in my usual location. I'm in my bunker.
God.
Man
That's
cave?
just a fringe benefit of the job, right?
Are you in
That's
your
right.
man cave, Alan? Your man?
No. I still have crazy things like this. You
Oh, okay.
flowers. No. Sorry,
Well,
guys.
Stan,
Right.
did you have anything to add?
Well, yeah, you're telling me to raise my hand. Am I supposed to do this, put my hand up here like this? Because I couldn't see anything.
No, it's on the participant panel, Stan, and I anticipated you might not be able to do that, so I went ahead and just unmuted you. So
Okay, thanks. I just had a query. I know you've already signed the deal. A query with the Red Tiger agreement. I hadn't seen it because I hadn't participated in any of the previous meetings. And Loretta sent it to me and I read it through. Firstly, they refer to it as the City of Amelia. So that shows how much they know. And I wonder, what are we going to achieve from this? We already have had a committee a couple of years ago that came up with plans that nobody acted upon. We've got several empty spaces that we know about. There's the empty spaces next to the theater. Best of luck negotiating with Perrin and Perrin's family on that. And a couple of other empty spaces back up the road. What are they going to come up with? Are we doing this just because it's covered by the CARES Act? And one would hope that it is actually covered by the CARES Act, because to me, I've read through, what the CARES Act is supposed to cover, and I don't see how this fits in. And if it doesn't, and they come back and collect it at a later stage, we're not just out the 50 grand, we're out 100 grand. Right. So, can you explain to me what you think you're going to get out of it?
I don't know. I don't understand the math on the 100 grand part.
Well,
Yeah, kind of lost me on that one too.
Okay, we're putting out 50 grand. Okay, now, so we're paying out $50,000 to these people. If it doesn't really fit under the CARES Act, and the CARES people come back and say, "Give me my 50 grand back," we're now out 100.
No,
So
CARES
I
Act
hope you get something out of it.
They would pay for the 50, but if you don't get it, it doesn't pay for the 50. It just equals 50. There's no scenario in which that equals 100.
Yeah, that's dubious math.
Don't we have to give it back? We got the 423 grand. If we don't spend that 50 by the end of December, do we not have to give that back to the government? God forbid.
It's 50 grand towards the project, or it's not 50 grand that we don't get. It doesn't, there has no opportunity to double the amount we owe because the project in total is only 50.
At the end of the day, we have 2 lawyers that have approved the expenditure. Plus, we've run it by the Small Business Administration, and they said that it's acceptable.
Okay.
And it's like about 200 other communities in the region that are using the money for the same reason.
To what end? Do we not realize that after the dreaded Wuhan virus goes away, there will not be brick and mortar buildings, to the extent that there were before? There'll be online shopping like there is now. It'll just continue. So what are we gonna build, folks? Why we have to ask why we're
I
spending
think
the money?
that you just answered your own question.
Sorry?
I think you just answered your own question.
Why?
That's why you plan. That's why you do studies. That's why you go out and try to figure what's the next step. Where do we invest? Where should we invest? Those are the things that you do these things for.
What are you going to invest in? Nobody's going to come.
That's what you answer the question by asking. You do the study so you can answer that question, Stan, instead of just running around telling everybody what you think should go there, which is kind of what we did the last time we went through this exercise.
Well, I'll be really interested to see what the hell they come up with, because I'm not seeing what they're going to do. Remember where we are. Remember, we're not near any railroads. We're in off the main road. We're 8, 10, 12 traffic lights in from 275. It sort of worries me that we're wasting money. And you know how I hate wasting money. It's not one of my favorite things, as you guys know, right?
And we've blown a lot of it over the years. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I can share something I saw interesting this morning on the news, because I watch the international news and I'm sure you probably do too. They were talking about the impact of COVID on Berlin in particular. Right. And they were talking about all the stores that have closed, all the empty storefronts, and they're trying to reimagine the future of retail if these stores never come back and people are buying online. And, the whole COVID impact of that. That's exactly what this study is to identify. But what they have found, and we're finding here also in Cincinnati, they're talking about the growth in housing. So people are beginning to work from home. So these vacant spaces will be studied for their attributes to see what the next level of needs are. And it may be residential and not commercial areas. We don't know. But that's part of the intent of this sort of study. And it says, that's why it's COVID eligible, COVID impact discovery, understanding the impact of COVID-19 on the corridor and to optimize participation from the community to reimagine the future. This is unprecedented times that we're going through globally, and everyone's struggling with what's going to replace the offices that were downtown, the retail stores, the brick and mortar. So this is exactly why they're allocating resources for economic development to look at what you've had and what the future can bring. So this starts the conversation during a really critical time.
Yeah, well, to me, it's a cost of 50 grand that we could have done ourselves. We could look at that and go, what are we going to put here? What businesses are going to move into this area, and what is their alternative? If our alternative is residential, then we go ahead and that's what we plan. I don't think we need to spend 50 grand on that. And
these are experts with connections, though. They're in the real estate business. They know the buyers and sellers, and they know the market in a way that we don't have the local expertise. But we do have local opinions that we need to draw into this study.
Right. Well, you go talk to Perrin. Best of luck. Go and talk to Mr. Perrin. See what he thinks he should do with the balance of his property next to the theater. That'll work out well. Anyway, it's signed.
But there's other places.
Sorry.
There are other places. The premier site needs to be the premier site. It's standing there with walls. That's an emergency situation. We need to find some way to get that project moving. Do you know what's supposed to go in there? Do you know what's out there in the market? Do you know what the next hot development is? Do you have connections to hospitals?
Well, you know, but we went ahead and tried to put Premier in there, and then they went broke. What are we going to do now?
We didn't do that. We didn't do that. Amelia did that. So we're trying to put some planning around this so we make smart decisions so we don't waste money. So we know where the next investment from the township should go. What do we need to get? Do we need 5G? What do we need? Do we need higher electrical? You know, does the grid need to be enhanced? We don't know. We answer these questions so we know what the investment is, so we save money moving forward. I mean, you keep talking about rail. Rail hasn't been in this corridor since the 1800s, but other businesses grow. What are the other businesses that are out there? Advanced manufacturing doesn't need rail, but where could we get that if we can get it at all? So we bring in professionals who do this stuff for a living, who see what the market is outside of the confines of Pierce Township, that know what they're doing. So we can rely on good information from people who are in that business and in that market. And I would think that that should be considered a smart business move that you should applaud.
We shall see. We shall see. Remember, we did this before. We came up with a plan. We thought we could put some medical facility in there. We wanted to go talk
You did that.
to particular people, right? And then what happened?
You did that.
No, you guys. No, it wasn't up to me. I'm not a trustee. We sent it back to the trustees.
I wasn't then either. That was you guys, not me.
Look at me. I wasn't a trustee. I'm not a trustee now.
At the time, I don't think I was either.
But you're looking at it now, and we're giving these people 50 grand to get what? That will, you know, some opinions. And unless they can come up with somebody to go ahead and help develop the stuff, that's just going to be a waste of money.
Well, Stan, on a couple of occasions, you've had dire predictions before that didn't work out.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how
I know.
it goes.
You said that too.
I've had a sort of a disgusting morning. I looked at the judgment saying that Amelia will have to be done on December the 15th, and there was a statement of facts. And if you go look at the statement of facts, the mayor, Tom Hart, that will tell you how much I think of legal things. It's that's, you know, second section. It starts off and it says Todd Hart at the start, but where it says statement of facts, it says Tom Hart, the mayor. It's like, really? You people know what you're doing? Give me a break. Go and have a look at it. You're laughing, but you go look at it. That's what it says. And this is
So
sort of the court of law. It's like, God help me.
I didn't write it.
No, I didn't write it either, but there it is.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, guys, you know, I've had my moan and groan, but I think we're just wasting the money. And I sure as hell hope that, you know, if you went to two legal experts after the judgment from the judge where he doesn't even know the name of the people concerned, I would hope that the legal experts are right and that we're not wasting 50 grand.
But thank you for your opinion.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. And by the way, Jeff, I like your beard.
Oh, I'm unmuted. Good. Well, thank you. It's only for November. Little fundraising thing with the officers. They pay a little bit. So
okay,
thank you.
Movember. Okay.
All right, Stan, and remember too, if you come back to one of these, somewhere on that participant panel down there, you have a little hand raise thing, and that's the hand raise part.
I can't see it, mate. I've got the mute, stop video, participants, chat, share screen, record, reactions.
Click on the participants part.
Right.
And then hover over your name or somewhere and see where you can see it has raise hand. Pete just raised his hand.
Okay.
So,
I can't see a raised hand.
Well, between now and then, you want to come to the...
Yeah, I'll have to come down and get Eddie to show me, right?
All right.
Okay,
All right.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Pete, let's see here. Pete, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I did that partly for illustrative purposes to show how you raise your hand. I don't know if you can see what I see, but anyway, that was one reason for my raising my hand. But the second reason was to, I guess, acknowledge whoever's done all this work has done an exceptional job trying to garner these CARES Act funds. That I'm sure that was a lot of work. And my contention has been from the very beginning, and this, I'm coming at this from an outsider, but also from a small business perspective, who's also taken advantage of CARES Act funding. This money, of course, we received a legal opinion, from those that know more in that regard. But these funds, I think, from what I understand, if not taken, will be redistributed to other municipalities and companies and businesses and so forth. So I think everything that the trustees have done has been very thoughtful and appropriate. And given the exceptional circumstances, these are once in a lifetime opportunities. So I can't really find fault with any of that. And I just wanted to recognize the exceptional effort that must have gone behind doing all this work and getting these grant proposals together in such a short period of time.
Thanks, Pete. Yeah, and we talked about in addition to talking about it today, we talked about this proposal for the Amelia study in two other meetings to quite some length. And in fact, after the first meeting, I think as a group, we didn't feel we had sufficient information. So they provided quite a bit in that follow-up meeting, just for anybody who's viewing this meeting. And those are all available on YouTube as well. So you can go back to our YouTube channel, Pierce Township, and you can view any of that stuff if you want more information on that project.
Okay.
And along the lines of what Pete's saying, a lot of hard work went into putting these requests together, and I think a lot of pats on the back need to go to Chief Wright, Chief Bachman, and Loretta, as well as John Kohler, for getting a lot of this material together in a very short order, so that we could take advantage of this. And I don't want to forget Debbie.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Trying to keep track of it all is what I'm doing. John's now on, Kohler, and he has a motion for faucets.
Tell him it's too late.
Sorry, I was finishing concrete over in the cemetery.
That's what they all say. It really is.
A little longer than what we was expecting. It's a little colder out today.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion, or to propose a motion to purchase 9 Char electric faucets with 16 cock hole covers to cover the extra holes. It's for basically they're touchless faucets for all the bathrooms throughout our building here. So
it's CARES Act funding as well?
Yes, using the CARES Act funding.
What's the total cost?
For the cost of $2,622.39.
Well, do I have a motion on that?
John, who is that with?
It is with Withamsville, Wynn Nelson.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Nick, I'll make the motion to purchase.
Seconded.
Thank you. Mrs. Batchelor?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Sorry I was late.
That's okay.
Thank
You are forgiven.
All right, good deal.
With the, can I give you a total of what we have left? Out of it, we do have some funds left, and if I don't get anything, purchase orders, requests for anything else before Friday, that the funds will have to go back. And with what I calculated, well, let's see, wait a minute, I gotta take John's off, hold on.
Area the three.
Yeah.
About $35,000, a little over $35,000 left.
Chief Wright,
base-
do we have all of the heart monitors that we need?
Yes, ma'am.
Jeff, did you get your concrete figured in? I'm sorry, I didn't get your stuff together.
Yeah, we went with a little, actually, we, 8,000, which will give us a little bit of play, we believe. So yes, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
So Jeff, let me ask you this. If there's 35,000 left and nothing else no one can come up with anything else to spend that on, instead of having a gravel driveway, would a cement driveway be able to use the money for that?
Yes, I'm not going to turn it away.
Well, I'm
But,
just saying, instead of having to replace gravel throughout the years, if there's money there that could be used for that, I would rather do that than send it back.
I have a feeling we've built that in with the $8,000.
No,
No, you
that was
didn't.
just
You
for the
need more?
floor.
That was the floor of the building.
Yeah.
So I would probably just take another 8,000.
Don, do you know that for sure?
No, because I don't know exactly where the building's going to set and how far back it is. But I can't imagine it's not going to set back farther or take up more square yardage than what the actual building
The
is.
floor did, yeah.
Yeah.
So do we want to do a separate motion asking for, how would what does the motion sound like?
I think you just up the amount that you have for the floor.
So just double it to 16?
That's what I would do.
Yeah, because you're just purchasing concrete, you're just purchasing more of
Yeah.
it.
Right.
So not to exceed
So,
16,000?
Yeah,
yeah,
so,
but we have to vote on that though.
yeah, we're gonna revisit that motion.
Who made the motion?
Bonnie and
How about we do this? Let's do this. I make a motion that we amend, what was the original motion?
That or I can amend my original motion.
Yeah, so if we make a motion to amend, you make the motion to amend, we'll vote on it. So
Yeah.
it's done properly.
Okay.
Okay, real quick, Pete had his hand up.
Referencing Chief Bachman's concept of the building that's going to be going up and possibly having that used for vaccinations and the like. What about using some of that money for PPE, which is disposable PPE, personal protective equipment? And in the event that any of that's not utilized by the township or others, then conceivably that could be donated to other worthwhile organizations, whether that be, hospitals, clinics, or, other medical facilities that might have difficulty getting them, depending on the direction, the trajectory of this COVID second spike, situation. Suggestion.
Thanks, Pete. That's not a bad idea. Why don't we get this concrete thing done and then we'll
Yeah.
talk about that.
So I'll make a motion to amend my original motion of the 8,000 for concrete to 16,000.
Okey doke.
Seconded.
Mrs. Batchelor?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
And Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, that gets us down to 27,000.
Okay, can I point out that pouring that concrete is not included in the material costs? So I don't know if then the contractor would do that or we would do that in-house.
Good question.
Now on the labor, it says pour all concrete 24 or 2,400 square foot, 5.5 inch thick. So they're pouring it, but I don't know to finish it. I don't know if John, finishing is part of the pouring. I don't know.
That's for That's for your garage floor only. That proposal there. That's not for the apron that would lead up to it or
Right.
anything like that. We can pour the apron going up to it if we need to. You know, if we're coming up short on time as far as getting, you know, money, getting it allocated. So, you know, we don't exactly know how long it's going to be yet or how wide or anything like that because we don't have a site plan or anything. So I would just plan on, you know,
The 16,000 should cover that then?
I would think so. It'd be
Okay.
pretty close.
Okay, thank you.
Chief, one other thing, I don't know, I don't want to overcomplicate anything, but I think that single bubble ceiling that they're talking about, putting on the insulation on the top of this thing is
Yes.
not, I don't think that's very much insulation at all. So like, I think if you ever wanted to heat it,
Yeah, that was not the insulation. That was a vapor barrier. And then insulation goes underneath that.
all right, well, on their proposal, they have roof insulation as single bubble roof and that's it. And then they have wall insulation as R19, like roll insulation, which is good, but I don't see any other specifics on the bid about the roof.
Okay, that's what when I called him, because I talked with John in the meeting and he told me to look into that. And that's what I was told that there would be insulation. So I can double check and make sure about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking you want it to be useful if you're going to do anything in there in the winter, like bringing people in for vaccines or anything, you're going to want to put something to heat it. And that what they have listed as single bubble roof is not, I mean, it could have a small insulating value, but it's very.
Okay.
Basically is all that's put up there for is to keep the roof from sweating. And it would be, if you didn't have that in there, it would start like raining inside there.
Yeah, and I would think ideally you're going to want roll insulation under that if you ever want to heat.
And see, this building doesn't have electric yet either, because that's not included either.
All right, well, I was just thinking if we have extra money and we're trying to make sure this is as useful as possible, but I know we've thrown together a lot in a short period of time, so.
Can you not put the electric in there?
I didn't have time to get the electric included in the whole thing.
Okay.
I would like to, but so.
John, do you want to just ballpark that for? you want to ballpark the electric?
Yeah, do another 10,000 for electric.
I thought it was 25.
Or do whatever's left for electric.
27,000.
Electric and insulation, right?
Yeah.
Yep, for extra insulation, and then it would incorporate your if you wanted to put a heater out there, and so on and so forth. But I don't know that if you can do that or not.
Yeah, but we could do a motion that allows us to do that and move forward. So you could come up with bids.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
In the time frame.
It's that's not a terrible idea. So we have what, 35 left, and we just took 8 off of it.
27.
So do a motion to get bids for electric, insulation.
Right.
No, guys,
Yeah.
see, I have to have this money encumbered by Friday.
That's right.
So I need to know what I need to know who's going to do the concrete or who's going to do the wiring. I need that by Friday.
Could we do a motion to accept the bid not to exceed? And then if we get that bid in before Friday, would that work?
No, it's
Too
they're
close?
very strict with these funds. They're very strict. And so anything that's not encumbered, I have to send back. So would you, if Jeff knew who he was going to get to do the electric work, just like the concrete work, we're not going to exceed that. I need to know if it's going to be like Sardinia concrete or before I can do my purchase order. I need exact information.
Yeah, exact names.
Yes,
It'll be Ernst Concrete for the concrete.
Ernst,
Yeah, we'll just say Ernst.
okay,
We have an account with them.
yeah.
So
So-
John, do you have an electrician that you could call and get that they could give you a written bid that would help Debbie out then to,
I could call Scott from Safeway, the guy that's gonna do the hand dryers,
right?
see if he could get us something before the end of this week, but I doubt it. They're so covered up as it is.
What about setting another like daytime meeting later in the week, like Thursday, to see what we can come up with?
Tomorrow?
Well,
That's
tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't do that tomorrow.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
What about KEP?
I don't really know them very well, so I don't,
They
John?
don't
Oh, yeah.
do commercial.
yes.
I tried that when I was looking for a contractor for the doors.
Oh, okay.
They referred me on to someone else.
Learning Center.
Sorry. Didn't infringe upon your right. I'm sorry, my phone died. I missed the last few minutes. So I ran over here.
I can,
And Debbie,
Yes,
can you refresh our memory? What happens if we don't spend the money?
if we don't spend the money this time, what we have left, it goes back to the county and then they redisperse whatever's left.
And then what happens to us?
We don't get any more money.
So if there's a CARES Act 4, then we would be penalized the 27,000 because we didn't spend it the last
It
time.
would not take, right. I know this all
So we would
happened,
be,
this all happened so quick and everything, I know.
Mhm.
And we had to move fast on this. And when they came up with the date of November 20th to have everything encumbered, I have used some for payroll. We did use some for payroll for Jeff, Craig, and Gary. So that was some of this expenditures too that we used. So, which we were allowed to do. So.
Alan, who did the electric for the Learning Center?
CSS Electric.
I can tell you a CSS Electric, but that was a sub to our general contractor.
right. This is interesting.
What about doing a meeting Friday morning? Would that work? I bet we could come up with a bid from somebody for the electric by then, maybe. I mean, I could make a couple calls.
Well, we would need electric for the building, and then you said insulation, right?
And heat.
And heat. So we would need, theoretically HVAC.
Well, I think the insulation and the electric would be most important, and then you could put like a heater in there, electrical heater in there to heat it or something. I don't know if you're necessarily looking at like an HVAC system or anything like that.
But we could get bids on all three of those items and then come back and have a meeting Friday morning.
We can have Jeff and John go knock on their door, say, we need this like now, and
Well,
do it.
Jeff does have a gun.
Yes, he does.
I mean,
Got a taser.
I mean, I would get you a bid if that were the case. You knock on my door with a gun and a taser.
I think the taser, and you just keep zapping them until they put it in.
Yeah.
The irony.
I know, they might be immune to it.
But the irony of zapping someone with electric when you want to bid about electric, it's just.
See, the problem is, they don't have, there's not a print for this thing yet. There's not, it's very skeptical for them to give you an electrical bid is going to be very tough because they're going to have to figure out how to get across the parking lot to get to this thing, to get the electric to it from the building. I mean, there's a lot to go into giving us this bid. I mean, they can give us a blown up bid and then they can refine it later, but.
John, quit being a Debbie Downer.
No, I'm just letting you know, it's I think it's gonna be hard to get somebody to give us a number.
Well, I was just thinking if they could give us some kind of a rough estimate of where,
What if I was to call the Moore company who's doing the labor and see if they recommend someone that, I mean, it's a structure that is a common dimension. So maybe they can refer me to someone who's done a building very similar.
I think that's a good idea. That's what I was.
why don't we go ahead and set up a meeting for Friday? And hopefully between all of them, they can come up with someone. I think Jeff, if they contact the company that gave you the bid for the building itself, they may be able to help come up with something.
I got faith in Chief Bachman for a buzzer shot between now and Friday.
All right. I will do what I can tomorrow and try to get it, someone out here.
What
got-
what time
got-
Friday? And we can go ahead, and if I have lighting information, we can add that too.
Debbie, would you be, I don't know how tight, I mean, like 10 or 11 on Friday, would that work or?
Okay. Claudia, what time's our meeting with Eileen? Oh, that's not, okay, never mind.
That's Tuesday.
Tuesday, no, okay, 10 o'clock
Yeah,
Friday,
Works.
okay.
So now Chief Bachman, you are on the clock.
All right, we got this. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going into my phone now.
One that works,
Well,
right?
that works. Thank you. All right, thank you for everything and the ideas.
all right, Chief, thanks. Okay,
8 or 6 feet apart.
There you go.
all right, anything else?
All right, we got to get a special meeting out.
Yep.
For Friday, 10 o'clock,
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Be there or be square.
What's that about?
It is about purchase orders.
Must have been a square on this one.
The what?
I must have been square on this meeting then.
Okay. All righty.
All right, any other comments from anyone? All right, I think that's all we got.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I will second.
All right, Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Bachelor,
Yes.
and Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.